I am Dr. Shailesh Nisal, practicing plastic reconstructive and cosmetic surgery since the last more than 25 years. I was trained in the same from Mumbai and later on visited Australia and the United States to learn more tricks, gain more experience with various cosmetic surgical procedures. Rhinoplasty, in colloquial language called as nose job, is the commonest facial plastic surgical procedure that is done. And the requirements of rhinoplasty in various cultures, in various races, is different. Like the requirements of the Caucasian nose will be different from the requirements of the Asian nose, or that of people from South Asia will be entirely different. And one of the most demanding, one of the most interesting surgeries is changing the appearance of the nose, because nose is the most prominent part of anybody's face. It is the part which is seen the first whenever you come across a stranger, and it can have a deep impact on what the nose looks like, about the impression you have about that individual. Now, rhinoplasty is a surgery which can be performed in so many people in so many different ways. So, in a general sense, there can be reduction rhinoplasty, there can be augmentation rhinoplasty. Augmentation meaning you increase the height of the dorsum, you increase the projection of the tip, you increase the length of the nose. Or reduction, when there is a big nose which causes an imbalance on the face, it can be reduced. Especially the width of the lower part of the nose can be reduced effectively, making the nose look more attractive. Now, how is the rhinoplasty surgery performed? It is a surgery which takes a long duration. I have enough number of situations where we have been operating on a nose for 5 hours, 6 hours, even going up to 7 hours. So the patient is under general anesthetic. Under general anesthesia, you open the nasal skeleton by an incision inside the nose. It is connected from a incision over this part of the nose, which is called columella. Since this part is totally hidden, not seen even when you look at it closely, no scars are seen. All the rest of the incisions are inside the nose. Now, depending on what needs to be changed in a nose, you need to do different steps. Many a times, you need grafts to reshape the nose. The graft commonly taken is the rib graft. So, there is a small incision over the chest through which we take some cartilage, a piece of cartilage, and it is closed by absorbable subcuticular sutures. Now, this graft is used to shape various parts of the nose. Like there is a discrepancy over the dorsum, you put in a cartilage graft over the dorsum to give it a straight, nicer look. You can correct the nasal ala again by cartilage, using cartilage which shapes it, and using sutures which gives it a desired prominence. Like there are certain anatomical, certain predefined parts of the nose. So we use this cartilage and find various stitches to give the right appearance to the nose. But then it is not always predetermined. It has to fit the facial appearance of an individual and their desires. Like a patient who wants a good tall dorsum is given that. But if they don't ask for it, we need to tell them that this would look good on them, and this preoperative discussion leads to the final decision about what needs to be done in a given individual. So, who are the most suitable candidates for rhinoplasty? The most suitable candidates are the ones who can clearly state what their desires are. And whenever those desires are existing there and can be corrected surgically, they are the best ones who will get the result that they expect and will be happy and satisfied by that. For example, a patient who has a very wide ala or this alar fold which is flaring, and they state that they want it to be narrowed and this to become sharper. Now this is surgically possible, they are good candidates. Patients who want a dorsum which is straight, which does not have a hump and which is higher, it can be very well done, good candidates. Those who have broad nose, they want it narrowed and the tip to be made more prominent, more natural, doable. These are all good candidates for rhinoplasty, but they need to have a clear-cut goal which is possible to be fulfilled, and they should have the right state of mind to accept a result which may be a shade different from what they have imagined about their nose. Now the precautions and related care that needs to be taken after rhinoplasty. At the end of the surgery, both your nostrils are packed. So that is to support the changed skeleton from inside. On the outside, there is a plaster slab or a nasal splint which supports it from outside. So when you come out of surgery, these are the two things that you have to be prepared about: nasal packs and a splint or a plaster slab on the outside. You need to stay propped up or sitting because that reduces the edema substantially. If you lie down flat, by gravity there is excess swelling there which makes you uncomfortable. The most important thing that happens is the change in the skeleton needs to consolidate in the same position as is done on the operation table. For that, all injuries have to be avoided, all untoward pressure on the nose has to be avoided. You can't give any pressure on the nose. So we tell those people that for 6 weeks, they should not be running, they should not be going in crowded places. After a rhinoplasty, if you fall on your nose, it can change the picture altogether. We have seen once in a while patients who undergo a rhinoplasty, then get into outdoor sports which can cause an injury without they doing anything, and then the result is so poor that they look worse than what they used to look before. So outdoor sports have to be avoided for 3 months after a rhinoplasty.